This is TLV1.
TLV1 radio.
Great mixture.
I like television.
This is still V1.
This is
Tel Aviv is a beautiful city.
Great city, great radio.
TLV1.
This is TLV1.
From the TLV1 studios in Tel Aviv, Israel, it's Louis Live. That's just me, Ari Louis. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. This is Louis Live coming at you on TLV1.FM. We have a great show tonight. Andrew Sherwood in 20 minutes past the hour to talk about a Jewish soccer league in England. Aviv Rosenblum from your Ramat Hasharon Hammers talk about the big victory last week against the Jerusalem Lions, Joe Glickman, and much more. But we're going to get things started with a little running. On the line right now, running in the Jerusalem Marathon this Friday, representing the One Family Fund is Mr. Tom Weiss. Tom, welcome to Louis Live on TLV1. How you doing?
Well, thank you so much, Ari. I am running to the microphone to talk to you because I know this is such a powerful show that you've got.
Yeah, it is powerful.
And the reason that I'm running for One Family is because it's the victims of terrorism of Israel. And so I got to tell you straight off the top, I would not be running this full marathon if it wasn't for One Family and really we're running with the victims and we're running for the victims at the same time, which is very exciting. And it's motivated me into tremendous training as well.
Let's talk about that training because this is your first full marathon ever. It's approximately 26 miles. Obviously, you've been training for months. Tell the folks out there your daily regimen. What are you eating? How much you're running? How much you're riding bicycles?
About 9 weeks of training. I beforehand took my time because, sometimes it takes a little pounding on the knees and things along those lines. And so you want your body to be in as best a shape as you can possibly do it. The way I describe it is basically you're going into this thing looking at it as like uphill segments begin to wear down your legs, your cardiovascular system, and your resolve. But it doesn't matter because you have to keep on driving until a manhole cover begins to look like mountains. Remember, this is Jerusalem, not Tel Aviv or even New York or Washington, which has a little bit of uphills, but this is really doing it. So my regiment, as you asked, is basically on Sundays I'll do a speed run, and that usually consists of about 10 or 12, and then we work our way up the ladder. We go 16, 18, 20, in the kilometer ranges, right? So miles-wise, you get all the way up to about 20 miles altogether on your long runs on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Your speed runs are a lot of fun.
All right, and last year you did the half marathon, and I know you had some difficulty. Tell us, at the end of that race, at a little difficulty, at the end of that race, you told yourself, next year, not only am I going to do this again, I'm doing the full marathon. Isn't that correct?
I was sitting on the floor. I was sitting on the ground, the land of Israel, right, in the middle of Jerusalem in Gan Soccer Park. And as I was sitting there, I was in pain because I went out about 9 times before, and I pulled a muscle exercising in January, and the race was March 1st. And so I only gave myself 29 days, about 7 times out before the half marathon. And believe me, it's not like a sprint, 100 meters or 100 yards. You got to work. It's a half marathon. And in doing so, the day before, it's kind of a funny story, but don't do it at home. I think any kid could tell you not to do it. I went to the convention center and picked up a pair of sneakers because they said to me, no, don't worry, they're Tom Brady shoes. It's his company. Don't worry, it's a great company, and you won't blister. You won't blister at all. Of course, I ran a strong 10 split time, 10K split time, and then we got between 13 and 14, and I started blistering about 8 out. When I told my mom the story, she said, well, you stopped, of course. I said, Mom, this is not gym class. It's an international marathon. I still came in at about exactly 2 hours, but I was upset. I immediately went over to the first aid tent, and I sat down for a time period, stiffened up, and that's where I made the determination before I hobbled all the way down to the massage tent.
All right, so obviously everyone out there, when you're running, very careful. You have to be careful when you choose your running shoes. That's certainly a big factor.
Not the day before.
Yeah, don't do it the day before.
That's for sure.
Now, you've been on
this year. They're great shoes, but at the same time, it's a year later.
Yeah. Well, we love Tom Brady in any case, and we love his money. Now,
right.
Now, you've been on record saying that the Jerusalem Marathon is the toughest marathon in the world, tougher than the one in Italy, New York, Chicago, Tel Aviv, and so on. Tell us why you think Jerusalem is the toughest marathon in the world.
Yeah, for a couple of different reasons. And as I was talking about that manhole that starts looking like a mountain after a while, it's a situation where when you're in New York and you're running, I was watching it this morning, early morning, just because I'm really, inside of an inside right now on the focus factor. And as I'm watching New York, the Verrazano Bridge is the biggest hill that they have as you're starting in Staten Island and heading into Brooklyn, the long Brooklyn route. But here, we have hills that last. And one of the things that's amazing, Ari, is that I went on for the first time to watch the video of the car driving around the course on Friday, which meant I did all kinds of preparation beforehand without really realizing, which means I went out to the hills of basically, I don't know how well people know Jerusalem, but it's magnificent backdrop of going down to out to Hebrew University and French Hill and then down to Ramat Shlomo. So you're going way downhill, and then you get back on the Begin Highway to come all the way back uphill. Then you're racing through town, the mayor's office, through the old city of Jerusalem, coming out the Zion Gate on the bottom, racing, taking advantage of the hills. And yet at the same time, you're heading all the way out on Rehov Hebron, on Hebron Street, out to Ramat Rachel, way up in the mountains again, and going past Har Choma, because Jerusalem's only so big, and then all the way out in the direction until the border police stop you of Rachel's tomb, and then coming back, circling back around. It's wild stuff, but the hills can be 2 kilometers high. That's pretty high.
A few more minutes left with Tom Weiss, who's running on behalf of the One Family Fund in Jerusalem. Now, what's interesting with the marathon as opposed to other sports, basketball, baseball, football, even boxing, they have breaks. This is nonstop, no breaks. You're running for 3 to 4 hours, what have you, whatever it may be, no breaks. What are you thinking about during that time? How do you pass the time when you're running for that long?
Excellent question, Ari. Very perceptive of you to ask a question like that. I haven't heard a question from others. Basically, the thought process is that if you're running through Mea Shearim, for instance, as I'm racing down the hill and over the top to go to Malach Daphna, I'm thinking Torah, or I'm thinking stories, or I'm thinking when I'm running past certain theaters where I was on stage recently putting on a show called Seussical, Dr. Seuss, right, which is a wonderful production, and I'm thinking about my lines that I'm actually running. Well, we arrived at the war that I said that we should. And the war, and so you're running your lines, you're singing your songs in your head, you're thinking about different things, but the most important thing that you're doing is every single step. You can't afford to take one misstep. And sometimes you're running on the road, you're up on the curb, you can imagine, up on the curb, down on the street, up on the curb, down on the street, because the car's behind you. The reason you want to run in the street itself is because the street is flat for the most part. And when you go up on the curbs, they want the rain to run into the street. So they're angled. Now, if you're going 20 kilometers, 25, 30 kilometers, that's a long way to have your feet angled. You may be angled into blisters. So you have to figure out. So I'm running between buses, literally, going into Mea Shearim, or circling back up around the light rail track as you're heading back up towards the old city and avoiding people and kissing your mezuzah as you go through the old city. I mean, it's wonderful as far as seeing and feeling the full Jerusalem and running through. It's very inspiring, yet at the same time, it's tough. I mean, you are up and down and doing the full thought process.
No doubt about it. And last question we'll leave for you. This obviously is an international marathon, people running from all over the world here in Jerusalem. I understand that the winner of certain age categories can get a cool $10,000. Is that correct?
Well, actually, all right. So here's the real situation overall. We just looked it up for this year's run. It's $5,000 for the overall winner of the marathon. $3,000 for second, third is $2,000. But there's a bonus, and if you go below, imagine this: 2 hours, 16 minutes, 28 seconds. That's last year's record. The world record is 2:03, Ari.
Wow.
Some guy came in here last year from Ethiopia, because Kenya and Ethiopia are the countries, and ran 13 minutes off the world record through the hills of Jerusalem. That's really inspiring in itself. But again, this is all about one family for me. The reason I'm running this thing is because these people take care of day in, day out, basically 7 days a week, even around the Shabbat table. They're taking care of the victims of terrorism, trying to over the kids. The kids that have lost their siblings, have lost their fathers and their mothers. It's like, you know what? I got to do everything that I can possibly do. If it's raising money, if it's inspiring others, we're going to have 273 people getting together on Thursday night for pasta, for fire up, for rally time, for singing, for songs. And I'm going to take that with me as I'm on the course, because I'm going to need every bit of it to keep myself fired up, to use the adrenaline, which I've learned for different ball sports and stuff, to be able to take it to this game right here and make sure that I get the 42 kilometers, 26.2 miles up and down the hills done.
There you go. Tom Weiss, everyone, representing the One Family Fund. Find One Family Fund on the internet. Donate to them. It's a great cause. Appreciate the time. Good luck to you on Friday, buddy.
Thank you, Ari. Appreciate it.
All right, Tom Weiss, everyone. Quick break. On the other side, the president of the Israel Swimming Association, Noam Tzvi. This is Louis Live on TLV1. Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. Thanks again to Tom Weiss, running on behalf of the One Family Fund. And thank you to Tober Gershman, who makes all the music for my shows. We have a great show tonight. We're also going to have some great guests coming on next week. Ron Asani, he is a race car driver, world famous. He's going to give up part of his career to join the Israeli army. Josh Halloran, the sports rabbi, poker extraordinaire player, Melanie Weisner, much more. That's next week's show. We still have a long way to go tonight. And on the line right now, the president of the Israel Swimming Association to talk about some big breaking news, Mr. Noam Tzvi. Noam, welcome back to the program. How you doing out there?
Very well. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Now, Israel, it's been announced Israel will host the Euro Swimming Championships in January 2015. You're on record of saying that's like host to the Olympics. Why do you feel that way?
For us to host such a big event, this is a Europe Championship short course, and we're going to have here 45 countries from Europe and 35 already sold television networks all over Europe. We expect audience of about 145 million people during these 4 days. So this is a huge event, and to host it in Israel, this is a real big excitement for us. And we told our national teams that for us this is like Olympic Games, and we want them to perform as if they were in Olympic Games. So the people in Israel will see the best of the swimming that is possible.
145 million people, that's extraordinary. And I imagine this will be one of the biggest sporting events, period, in Israel's history, correct?
Yes, it is. If it's not the biggest one, so one of the biggest. Anyway, it's a huge event. And we're so happy that we could host it and we could get this privilege from the LAN, Ligue Européenne Natation, the European Association, Swimming Association, to host this event, because there was also a very big, a very good suggestion from Napoli to host this event. And we know that it's not very easy to bring it to Israel because we are not the center of Europe. Never before we hosted such an event, of European event. So we were very happy that we were fortunate enough to have this competition here.
Now, tell us about breeding this event, of the amount of effort that it took. You're the president, obviously, of the ISA, and I'm sure this took a long time, but are we talking years, months? How long did it take to get this accomplished? Because this is truly a magnificent event coming up.
Yeah, first of all, the National Aquatic Center was finished only 6 or 7 months ago. But already before it was finished, and already when it was just being built, we drew the attention of the president, of the vice presidents of the land, that we can host such a big event. And for years we are working about it. We hold here in Eilat in 2011 the Open Water European Championship. And we showed the ability of the association to deliver a beautiful European event. And then they saw, okay, you know what you are doing. When you have your swimming pool, it will be possible to host it in Israel. And now it was a vote in the General Assembly, and we were very happy that we won it.
Now, what does it say about the relationship between European countries and Israel that all these European athletes will come to Israel? Because there's obviously a sentiment out there that a lot of people in Europe aren't the biggest fans of this country and of the Jewish people. And here you have 600 plus athletes coming to Israel. So what does that say as far as bridging the gap and building the relationship between the European countries and the land of Israel?
In swimming, we are already very strong in this association, and I'm also a member of the bureau, and we are sitting in many committees. But this is one thing, and to host one of the biggest events of this organization, this is another thing. And so this is why it gave us a lot of confidence that they believe in us, and that we are a real part of this family. Because if you remember, till 1990, we were not even part of Europe. Till 1980, we were part of Asia. 10 years, we were nowhere. And from 1990, we are part of Europe. But which means that we go to Europe and compete in the different events. But now to have this huge event in Israel, this really strengthens the connection and put us really inside of the swimming family of Europe.
All right, and this event is going to be at the Wingate Institute. It's got an Olympic-sized pool and will hold about 3,000 fans to see 600 swimmers. I imagine that you will get a sellout, quote-unquote. You'll probably have all 3,000 seats filled up, right?
We expect, yes, because as I told you, the statistics from Denmark last year event was 145 million spectators in live. And we know it's going to be even bigger when it's going to be here. So, of course, the swimming pool will be fully crowded. There will be no one open space. But we have limits of how many spectators we can put inside. But anyway, you know, the swimming pool is 50 meters long, and the championship is 25. So after the 25, we're going to cover the rest of the 25 meter and to build a tribune for more 700 people to sit there. So it will be all packed around the swimming pool, and I'm sure that the atmosphere will be great.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for calling on the program. Noam, this is great news. Again, the European Swimming Championships will be in January in Israel in front of about 145 million people. Congrats again on the news, and thank you so much for being on tonight's program.
Thank you very much.
Be well. All right, folks, quick break. On the other side, from the Jewish News of Britain, Mr. Andrew Sherwood, who will talk about a football league, soccer football league, only for Jews. That's right, I said that. Interested to find out myself what that's all about. This is Louis Live on TLV1. All right, back here on Lewis Live on TLV. One little Red Hot Chili Peppers there. I think a couple of their band members are Jewish, so that's good to know. You want to follow the station, you can do so on Twitter at TLV1.FM, and you can email me personally at arilouisshow@hotmail.com, ARILOUISSHOW@hotmail.com. And, of course, you can download every episode of Lewis Live Sports by going to the website, and you can click to the side, and of course on iTunes as well. You go through that way. And thanks to Udi, who is producing for me tonight. On the line right now, discuss a little Jewish football, also known as soccer, from the Jewish News of Britain, Mr. Andrew Sherwood. Andrew, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, you wrote a great article about a very interesting story, and I find this really fascinating, that apparently there's a football league in England that is comprised of Jews. That's the gist of it, correct?
That is 100% correct, yes.
All right. Who came up with this idea? I mean, a sport, a league where just Jews are playing it and it's not in Israel? How did that happen?
Well, basically, I mean, this may surprise you, but the actual league we're talking about has been going on for more than 60 years, nearly 70 years now.
Wow. Okay, so I'm a little behind in my Jewish football. All right, I apologize about that. Originally, did they make it because of anti-Semitic concerns? Because I know a lot of things started, like the fraternities in America, A Pi started because Jews weren't accepted to other fraternities. Was this a case where Jews were not accepted to other football teams, so they had to start their own league?
That was one of the factors, as you rightly point out. Another thing is here in London, where the league is obviously based, there's a strong community ethic. So it's all about keeping it in the community, if you like, as well. And these players, get together every Sunday morning, and it's just another way of them getting together. It's more of a social thing as opposed to a really competitive thing. But having said that, everyone wants to win as well. But it's a way of keeping members of the community together.
Now, I know that the Jewish fans of these teams in Britain in the Premier League are insane, and also there's some Jewish flavor. There's the Tottenham Yids and the Yid Army, and that got some news because other teams would make gas noises as part of the Holocaust against those teams. It got very, very serious. So is that part of the flavor in this league that Jews in England are so much into the sport, you just have to have a league where they're going to be playing it?
Not exactly, no. Obviously, the fact that they're all playing together, thank God, we're not going to have any of those instances. As you may or may not know, on the football pitch, or soccer, things do get a bit tasty, so there is some aggro between the players. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't any pushing and shoving, but it's all in good spirits, and at the end of the day, in most instances, they come off the pitch shaking hands.
Now, I'm curious about the rules of this league because according to Jewish law, it goes by the person's mother. That's how you decide if you're Jewish. And some people nowadays say, hey, if I have a Jewish father, you could go in a Reformed temple and they consider you Jewish. What are the rules of this league?
Right, as you say, it's a bit sketchy because, as you say, in recent times, the football posts, if you like, have changed slightly. As it currently stands, as far as I'm aware, the footballer's mother has to be Jewish in order for the player to be Jewish and therefore be registered to be allowed to play in the league. Anyone who, for whatever reason, any team who's caught fielding a non-Jewish player will then get punished.
Wow.
Be it in terms of losing points from a game, or even to the most extreme effect, getting kicked out of the league. But that is the end. That's very remote. But players, they do get disciplined if they're found guilty of fielding a non-Jewish player.
Wow. All right. So they're definitely taking this seriously.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm not sure how much you know of the league, but it consists of 4 different divisions. So there's maybe 40, 45 different football teams who compete in this league.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how big it is. And, there's masters football for elderly, from footballers between 35, anything up to 70 years old. And there's even a kids league as well, all with the same rules and regulations where you have to be Jewish. So it's a massive thing here in London.
All right. We're speaking with Andrew Sherwood here on Lewis Live on TLV1. Now, I'm curious if there's a cost to get involved with this league and then a prize money for the winner. I know some leagues do it that way. This obviously seems almost borderline professional. Tell us about the money aspect because, this is a Jewish show at the end of the day.
Of course. I'm glad you said that. Yes, players do have to pay a fee to be registered for their respective teams. To be 100% honest with you, I'm not entirely sure how much it is, but they do have to play some kind of fee every week as well to play for their football team. There are leagues, there are cups, so people, they play in cup competitions, and they win promotion and they win cups. They go to a cup final at a football ground called Wingate in Finchley. which is in North London, and, it's a proper day out with referees, linesmen, trophy presentations, everything.
Wow.
And as you may have seen on our website, we give them all the coverage as well. We film highlights. We have photographers out there. So they're treated like professionals.
Andrew, I saw a video on your website regarding this league where it said, "Watch out for vulgar language." Is that common, that there's that type of language in all these games?
Oh, yes. Well, you have to understand as well, these players get together on a Sunday morning, and as well as wanting to play football, it's just a way of relieving the tensions of the past week as well.
Right.
And they take as I said to you before, things do get a bit lively. I'm not sure what you heard on the video that you saw, and apologies in advance, but there is some fruity language used, which is why we had to put up that red banner where it said, warning, this video may contain strong language.
Right.
Because we have had complaints before. And every word you can think of does get used, unfortunately.
You know what? We understand. I play in a synagogue league with 3 rabbis, but when we get on the court, there's trash talking, there's elbows thrown, it gets physical.
The rabbis as well? The rabbis trash talk?
It happens. It happens once in a while. So, and not in the sermon, though, of course, but just on the court or on the soccer field. And, well, last question after you. This is really amazing stuff. I'm curious, has in the past or in present time, has there been any players in the league good enough that you had some scout from the Premier League take a look? Anything to that level?
There have been maybe a handful of players who have played in the local Sunday morning football, and they have played at a high level, not the Premier League. The highest league was probably maybe the 3rd tier in English football, English soccer.
Okay. All right, so that's still some notice, which is pretty impressive.
Not top flight Premier League football as you know it, soccer,
right.
But they have played professional football, yes.
All
so
right,
it's only a handful.
People want to find out more about this league. Obviously, they can go to the Jewish News, which you write for, and where else can they find out more about it?
The first port of call, I'm going to say, obviously, is our website, jewishnews.co.uk. The league itself is called the Maccabi GB Southern Football League. So if they go to mgbsfl.co.uk, they'll find details there as well. But as you so kindly said, if they go to our website, they get all the reviews, the match reports, videos, photos, you name it.
And they get to read your writing. So what's better than that? And learn about the league.
It's win-win if they come over to our website. What can I say?
There you go. All right, Andrew, great stuff. Thanks for being on the program. Be well, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thanks a lot. Bye.
All right. Andrew Sherwood, everybody, from the Jewish News of the UK. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, from I-24, Devere Reutman, who's going to talk about being at the Tel Aviv Derby. What's the Tel Aviv Derby? You have to stay tuned to find out. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
צעדיי הם מוגבלים לכללים אני מועד ולא שומר על קצב ומבייש את הרצפה במחולות חולים בביתי על המרקע יש אחת שמחכה לוחתי את מטרתי ולחתים את מיטתי אך אולי הלילה היא תרקוד איתי אני עומד על זה ולא מגיע ונאחז בצמרות של אילנות גבוהים גאוותי כעת בגובה 10 אני מוכן להתפשר גם על אורות מהבהבים
Back here on Louis Live on TLV1, we're going to stick with the theme of football, also known as soccer, from Andrew Sherwood on the line right now to I-24 producer and soccer fan. the one and only Mr. Devere Reutman. Devere, how you doing out there?
Excellent. How are you?
Doing great. And, of course, last night's game, the Tel Aviv Derby between Hapoel Tel Aviv and Maccabi Tel Aviv, was one of the finest games you've ever seen. You told me your voice still a little sore. It was a crazy atmosphere. Tell us about that atmosphere and all those crazy fans.
Well, the last 4 derbies were won by us, by Maccabi, of course, and this time it felt a little bit different. Maccabi is not in the best shape in the last month and a half. Hapoel really wants to win something. They have a very lousy season, and of course we are in the first place, going to a second championship in 2 years. It was fun, during, I think, the 33 minutes or so, our striker, Rada Pritza, got a red card, and after we were leading 1-0, and to feel a little bit, dangerous. So before the halftime, they scored. Damari even scored 1-1, and then we felt like it's a problem for us. If some of us in the gate thought if it will finish 1-1, it's good for us. And the second half, it's like the best game I've ever seen in my life. I think that I ever was in. The Hapoel scored. They got a penalty in the 86 minutes. They do 2-1, and you see the crowd, and you feel that horrible feeling of losing the derby. And then the next attack of Maccabi, after renewing the game, we got a penalty. It was 2-2, and we had like 3 more minutes. Of course, we were down to 10 players most of the match. And I think in the last second, not the last minute, the last second of the match, Eran Zahavi scored another one, making a 3-2 hat-trick for Eran Zahavi. It was just unbelievable.
Now, before we talk about your excitement and your feelings, I'm curious about the crowd as far as percentage. What percentage was rooting for Hapoel? What percentage was rooting for Maccabi Tel Aviv?
I think it was like 12,000 Hapoel, because it was a home game of Hapoel, so they give Maccabi only gates 11 and 10, and like you also need a small separations between the gates.
Right.
So it's another seats that no one can sit in them. Though about 300 Maccabi fans got into the Hapoel gates wearing black shirts. Then they go to the sides of the game. The game started, and you can see it's not Hapoel fans in the gates. But it was like 12,000 next to, I would say, I don't know, 2,000, like 1,000 maybe of Maccabi, something like that.
Wow, so they actually snuck in wearing different T-shirts to get in?
Yeah. There were warnings. I think there were also semi-police officers in the gates. But before the match, they found out who are the Maccabi fans in the Hapoel gate. They took some of them out, some of them to Maccabi gate. But when the match really started, you could see a lot of fans going to the side. They didn't wear not red or yellow. You can't know which team are they, and
wow.
You can see they're singing with Maccabi fans in the other games.
All right, and the fans, because we know that soccer fans are notorious for getting in fights, being rough, being loud, and so on. Obviously, everything was loud, but physically, did the fans fight with each other, or was it pretty safe?
No, I think this derby specifically is pretty safe.
Okay.
I think Hapoel fans went home a lot before Maccabi fans went home. That's for sure.
Well, right. Partly because they lost, right? They don't want to stick around and be yelled at.
No, I mean, after this victory, we stayed in the gate to celebrate like for another 45 minutes.
Wow.
And when we went out of the stadium, finally, there was no one with a red T-shirt in the streets. No, not even one.
And talk about now your feelings when that goal was scored, the last second of the game. Instead of a tie, it's a win for your team, this team that you follow, that you love. They win against their arch rivals, their nemesis. Your feelings, is it one of the top 5, 10 moments in your entire life?
I think it was definitely top 3. With another victory of Maccabi last year, also 2 in additional time, and one more match I cannot remember right now. But so maybe even top 2, because it's unbelievable. You play the entire match, like almost the entire match, 75% of the match with 10 players. And you feel, okay, we the tie, and then 4 minutes to the end, you get the penalty, he scored it. Even our goalkeeper almost took the penalty, thinking, what a shame, and the championship is not yet in our pocket, and it's a shame, it's a miss. And then, the next attack of Maccabi, he just entered Tal Ben Chaim very fast, very, very fast. Like a minute ago, it was his first touching the ball, I think, and he squeezed the penalty for Maccabi. I saw it very closely. It was 100% penalty. And, you pray just for a run, not to miss the penalty. He scored it. And then you're thinking, okay, if I want now Maccabi to win, I'm really a pig, Right. And then, one more attack of Maccabi, they almost scored a goal, and you thought, okay, yeah, definitely this one is tie. And the last attack of Apoel, they lose the ball to one player of Maccabi. He ended it over to Brak Badash, who ended it over to Eran Zehavi, and in a small touch, not the best situation to score the goal, and it entered, and I just jumped on the fence, then I turn around, I see the coach, everyone, I didn't realize the match was over. At that second, the judge didn't even renew the match, and everybody are running inside. It was just crazy, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Right. Wow, last question, Lee, for you. Because you guys got the win over Hapoel, no matter what happens the rest of the season, do you feel like this is a good season because of that victory last night?
I will answer you like that. We had also what is called the small derby last year between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Bnei Yehuda Tel Aviv. Also, as I said, finished in a very dramatic way. Maccabi winning 3-2 in the 99 minutes. And after goal last year, I felt what everybody felt last night. The championship is ours. No one will take it, no matter if we lose, win, what Hapoel Be'er Sheva will do, Maccabi is very, very strong. It can win Hapoel with 10 players. She can win each team that she has to play during the matches that are left. I think this is one of the greatest seasons Maccabi ever had, for sure.
All right, Tavir, we're out of time for this segment. Really great to have you on. Happy that
thank you.
Happy that you're able to come on, and also get a note to say hi right now from Udi. Udi wants to say hi to you, so
okay.
All right, he was happy with the victory as well. All right, we're going to be in touch, Tavir. Thank you so much. Enjoy the victory, and thank you for being on Louis Live tonight.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, be well. Tavir Roitman, everybody, also producer at I-24, by the way, but last night he was just a fan. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, from your Ramat Hasharon Hammers, Mr. Avi Trey Rosenblum. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
Speak the river
Back here on Lewis Live on TLV1. Thank you for tuning in, or thanks to Devere Reutman from I-24. We're going to go from football, European style, to American football. On the line right now, talking about a big victory his team got last week, is from the Ramat Hasharon Hammers, Mr. Avi Rosenblum. Avi, welcome back to the program. It's great to have you on. You know, we haven't had some IFL guys for a couple months for whatever reason, but now you're back on the air. And last week, your team got a big W against the Jerusalem Lions, which got you the second seed, first-round playoff bye. I understand it was one of the closest games this season, so tell us a bit about it.
It was a hard-fought fight again. You know, the Jerusalem Lions are a good team. You know, we haven't had a good competition for the last couple of weeks until last week, and all I can say is it was an amazing game. I haven't played one of those games for a long time, probably since high school. You know, it was back-to-back. You know, we were up 20 points, and we gave up the lead, which we should have never have done. You know, the guy caused a couple of mistakes on our part, and they came back. And, you know, Jonathan Curran is probably one of the most amazing players I've played with in a very long time, as a quarterback, an athlete, and altogether. And he made an amazing play. You know, that last play, he scrambled for about 5, maybe 6 seconds, and he got out on the green. And, you know, he knows that if he comes to my side, I'm going to make a block for him. And, you know, hopefully we was in that position. And, you know, we should have never been in that position, but at that time we were in it. So he made an amazing play. And he got the touchdown. I went crazy. Our whole team went crazy. It was probably one of the biggest wins of the whole season.
So last second score, touchdown by your quarterback. You had the key block, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. And I understand that block is still being talked about. It's pretty hard and vicious.
You know, my high school coach, Pop Warner coach, Derek Calhoun, he always told me, you know, if someone's standing around trying to get your quarterback, go and kill him. You know, that's how I play. That's how you play football. You know, if you're not able to get the ball, you know, make that block that will hopefully make it the touchdown.
And, again, big victory because you guys get the 2 seed. This week will solidify who gets a 3, 4, 5, 6 seed. Is there a team out there, because you're not going to play the Rebels in your first round, is there a team out there you want to play or don't want to play, you're scared of, or you just say bring them on?
Honestly, I'm the type of guy that says bring everybody on.
Okay.
You're going to have to play your best game versus us. We've got too many weapons for you to be able to stop us. You know, we scored 16 points in about 2 minutes in the game versus the Lions. We scored 54 points versus Beersheva the week before in 1 quarter, which we tied the IFL record, and we should have had the extra point that would have made us the IFL record holders with points in the score, but, you know, we didn't get that point. So we're a powerhouse offense, powerhouse defense. Not going to stop us either way.
All right, now with that said, Avi, you know, and I know, and the league knows that the favorites, according to most people, are the Rebels. People are almost already handing them the trophy. Does that make you guys mad on your team?
No, that makes us hungry. That makes us hungry to shock the world. You know, 100% that, you know, the Rebels are an amazing team. You know, I give it up to them. You know, they beat us. Plain and simple. You know, I have no excuses for that loss. But at the same time, we're hungry. We're trying to get that IFL ring. It's simple as that. We'll get that ring, and, you know, if it comes down to the last play like versus the Lions, so be it. But we're going for that ring, and we're going to get it.
Now, were there some things that your team learned from that loss to the Rebels that will help you if you guys do play them in the title game in April?
Yes, it does. You know, it shows us that we cannot take any team for granted. And it shows us that we need to work harder during games, and we cannot give up. Simple as that. Versus the Lions, versus the Rebels, we gave up in the second half. And I take full responsibility as being a defensive key player and saying that we gave up the game. And the Lions is not going to give up anything easy versus the Rebels at all. 100% will not give up any easy plays. Danny Eastman is a good friend of mine, and, you know, he's one of the good players in the league, as is me and Jonathan. And we have power, and we're going to show that when we play them in the Israel Bowl.
And the Rebels, when you're going to play them? So you guys already assume you're going there.
Oh, we're going. I'm going to make 100% that we're going there.
Wow,
and I will put
all right.
my body on the line for it.
Avi Trey announced that on my show that his team will be going to the title game. And if you guys do end up to the title game and play the Rebels, they'll have apparently Johnny Joe Martishis, who's back in Israel, came back a couple weeks ago. Johnny Joe, an IFL legend. Does that scare you at all, or still no?
Honestly, I play versus guys that are in D1 colleges and are going to the NFL this year, and, that doesn't scare me at all. Honestly, it's funny to me. I honestly, I don't know anybody that's a legend in the IFL, and, I just want to say, as we saw as the Sabres, they've won 3 years in a row. They got kicked out of the league, and, they went downwards. Football is a great sport, and football, I love it because, it's not, who wins at the end of the game. It's who's winning. It's not winning during the game. It's who wins at the end of the game. Anything can happen.
All right.
Anything can happen.
And last, I'll leave you with this. This is Dr. Noble's second year with your team, and before he came on the scene, Hammers were not in good shape. He come on the scene, and last year, first winning record, and this year you guys have the 2 seed. So just talk about Dr. Noble's impact on the Ramat Hasharon Hammers.
Keith is a great, amazing guy. He's a U.S. diplomat, so he knows how to strategize. And being said that, I look up to him more than anything, and he's, a black man. So I honestly, as being a young black man, I look up to him and, see where he is now, and that's where I want to be. I'm currently in the works going to the Air Force, so I'm looking at that right now as a position. And he knows football. He knows football in and out, and he will do anything he can to put our team in the position to win the games. And that's all I ask. As coaches that I've played for, we've always had a mentality, and so when I look at him, I look at him as a leader. He will put us in a position where we need to win.
All right. And Dr. Noble gives a great interview. I'll have to say, Avi Trey, a little more diplomatic than you. He would not go on the record saying that his team will be in the game, but that's you and that's him, and that's why you guys both give great interviews. Avi Trey, thanks for being on Louis Live on TLV1. We hope to see you in the title game. I hope to broadcast it, and Ty will tell about those issues, and we appreciate the time tonight.
Yes, thank you so much. I've always liked listening to the show. It's a great show. Ari, you're a great man. Don't worry about what other people say. As long as you have haters, you're doing something right.
That's well said. Very true. All right, Avi Trey, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Bye.
Be well. Avi Trey Rosenblum, everybody, predicting on my program his team will make it to the IFL title game, and that will be in April. Date to be determined, either April 11th or 10th. Quick break. On the other side, the founder of the Rehovot Silverbacks, Mr. Joe Glickman. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
And all the girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy. You know it's kind of hard just to get along today. Our subject isn't cool, but he fakes it anyway. He may not have a clue and he may not have style, but everything he lacks, well, he makes up in denial. So don't debate, play us straight. You know he really doesn't get it anyway. Gotta play that feel and keep it real. For you, no way, for you, no way. So if you don't break, just overcompensate. At least you know you can always go on Ricky Lake. The world needs one piece of. Hey, hey, do that brand new thing.
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby.
Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. Once again, if you want to follow the station on Twitter, you can do so at TLV1.fm. And if you want to email me personally, that's arilouisshow@hotmail.com, ARILOUISSHOW@hotmail.com. We had a great show tonight. At the end of this segment, I'll tell you about some of the guests coming on next week, so that's exciting stuff there. On the line right now, the founder of the RC Cola Rehovot Silverbacks and champion in the IFL with the Tel Aviv Sabres, Mr. Joe Glickman. Joe, how you doing out there?
Hi, Ari. Good evening. How are you?
Great, and it's great to have you back on. It's been a while since we chatted. And this season, win-loss wise didn't go exactly obviously the way you would have anticipated, but there's certainly silver linings with the season. Your players got more experience, got to play against the good teams. So talk a bit about some of the positive things that happened for your ball club this year.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get any wins this season, which didn't improve front of last season.
Right.
But what we did get is, like you said, we got a lot of experience. We got a lot of new guys. We had the respect of the league. Every team that came and played us said, well, maybe you didn't win, but it's one hell of a game. We play smash mouth football the old way, and we never give up until the last whistle. So in those terms, we had a great season. We improved a lot.
And going into next year, obviously, that's going to help a bit because a lot of times with football, it's the third, fourth year that things start to kick in. So next season, do you tell your guys, hey, our goal is to make the postseason this year?
It's our goal every year.
Right.
We're not starting the season and we're going to roll up and play it dead. You can ask every team who played us. It wasn't fun. Nobody comes into our house and expects us to roll dead. But next season, postseason is a big goal. Hopefully we'll be there. But next year we're actually not even going to play in Rehovot. We are moving to Mazkeret Batya, and which their city council actually helps us a lot.
Okay, so you'll be making the move there. And will RC Colas, obviously you would want them to stay out as sponsor. Do you still anticipate that will happen?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They enjoyed us, and we enjoyed them. They've been a big help this season, and hopefully the sponsorship contract will last for years, actually, not just next year.
Right.
We love them. They did a great work for us. They helped us a lot.
Now, have you thought about talking to your guys and taking them to some of these postseason games? Postseason, the IFL will start next week. Have you thought about, because you won a championship, and obviously seeing the championship games, the postseason games in front of you, in front of your eyes, it's a whole different experience. So have you thought about taking some of your teammates and watching these games in person?
Actually, maybe the finals.
Right.
As you probably know, the guys in the R League don't get paid, so we have jobs.
Right.
So if games usually fall on Fridays where guys work, it's a bit of a problem. But most definitely we will be going to some of the games. Watching guys play in a postseason game, you get a whole different intensity, and watching Israel ball is a whole different story, even from the rest of the playoffs. Every person who's been to a championship game and to a playoffs game knows it's do or die, and you can't really describe the feeling you have when you play for this golden trophy. It's ecstatic. So the only thing you can do is, like you said, take them to these games and make them more enthusiastic about them feeling it for themselves, and not just going and watching it as, like, oh, yeah, they're playing in the playoffs and we're not. So we actually try to motivate them every single game and every single practice, and we try to get the best out of our players, and including me. And we will most definitely be watching some of those games.
We're speaking with Joe Glickman, who is the founder of the Rehovot Silverbacks. Next season, they won't be in Rehovot. Now, you played for the Sabres, won a title. They're not in the postseason this year. Do you have a dog in the fight? Or there a team out there that you're rooting for to win the Israel Bowl this year?
As you said, I'm a veteran player in this league. I have friends in every team. Some of them better friends, some of them are not. I can say I don't have a dog in this fight, but if I have to put my money on the dog in this fight, I'll put my money on the Rebels this year.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that they're the team to be undefeated so far and have been winning games in blowout fashion. And lastly, we'll leave with you as a champion in this league. You played a title game, won one, played a title game, did not win one. What is the difference at the end of the day of winning the championship and not winning the championship if you were going to put it on one or two particular things?
Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah. That's why I get paid to do this, Joe. It's what I do.
Yeah, you're doing it well.
Thanks.
Well, after winning the championship, it was one of the greatest days of my life. I was ecstatic. I was drunk, literally drunk, not from alcohol, but from the feeling itself. I can't describe it. It's something. If you haven't been a champion at something, you will not know this feeling.
Right.
And losing the year after that final was, you know what? It wasn't that hard, actually, because we knew we lost to a better team, and we gave it our best. And when you're giving your best, and you know you left everything on that field, it actually dwells towards it's lesser. But winning a championship is definitely one of the best feelings I ever had in the world.
All right. Joe Glickman, wrapping things up here on Lewis Live on TLV1. We appreciate the time. Hope to see you at the Israel Bowl, and thanks again for being on the program tonight.
Thank you, Ari. Good night.
Good night. All right, folks, that's the end of our program. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Again, we have a great show next week. We want you to tune in and listen to that. We'll have Ron Sani. He is a very famous race car driver who's going to put his career on hold to serve in the IDF. We'll talk to Roy about that. We'll have on Josh Halleckman, the sports rabbi. We'll catch up with Josh. Haven't spoke with him in a few months on the program. It'll be great to talk to the sports rabbi. And, of course, Melanie Weisner, who's a world-famous poker player, had a great interview with her last time out. We'll do it again next week. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, listening in, being part of the program. And, of course, I want to thank our guests. We began the program with Tom Weiss, marathon runner. Will be running the full marathon this Friday on behalf of One Family Fund. Check out One Family Fund on the internet. They do great work. Then spoke with Noam, who's the president of the Israel Swimming Association, and he talked about on this program the European Championships will be in Israel in January. There'll be about 145 million people watching on television. Then spoke to Andrew Sherwood of the Jewish News, talking about a football league just for Jews. No reigners allowed. You have to have a Jewish mother. They are very by the book. And then we spoke with I-24 producer and Maccabi Tel Aviv soccer fan Devere Reutman, talking about one of the top 3 moments in his entire life when Maccabi Tel Aviv won last night in the 93rd minute 3-2 over their arch rivals Hapoel Tel Aviv. Then spoke with Ramat Hasharon Hammers player Avi Rosenblum, who says, I'm a good guy, and if no one hates you, you're not doing your job. So appreciate the words from Avi Trey. And Joe Glickman, founder of the Crowfoot Silverbacks, who will be moving next season. 0-9 this year, but they learned some things that will help them next year. Thank you again for listening in. Stay tuned for a lot of great programming, a lot of great stuff. But that's it for tonight. God bless, and good night.
Night.